So have you been looking for an awesome manga? Do you want something a little bit different to sink your teeth into and enjoy something action-packed or at the very least dramatic and at the same time a break away from the norm for shonen manga? Then look no further, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna cap one bit. Gachiakuta, which I hope I'm pronouncing it right, is crazy.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Now, I've only read the first chapter as of the recording of this video. However, it was a pretty long chapter, and there's only a handful or so of chapters out as of the recording right now. But I will say, in terms of it being possibly the next big thing, in terms of Weekly Shonen Magazine pushing it and even ushering and saying, hey, the start of a new generation begins, almost as if, hey, Fire Force, the manga that just left Weekly Shonen Magazine, is leaving behind a big shoe to fill. Oh, this is supposed to be next up. And off rip, if you're like, hey, Fornev, what is Gachiakuta all about? I'm gonna tell you. Essentially, the main character, Rudo, is, think of like somebody that kind of collects scraps from garbage. He's a garbage collector, essentially, and he almost even romanticizes, in a weird way, garbage and the potential in it. And automatically, I think that alone, the theme there is immediately very interesting in the way it's being presented, in terms of, hey, it's about this dude that he's like collecting garbage, and that's like a no-no where he's at, like, yo, dog, what are you doing robbing my garbage? I mean, anywhere it's really a no-no, like you can't just jump into people's garbage, but nevertheless he's robbing garbage and taking the scraps from it and creating something beautiful. And I think alone that's supposed to be the message that is going to be portrayed throughout this series, the fact that even if you're looked at and deemed as from society as trash, the bottom of the barrel, you can turn trash into a diamond. But again, it's very, very hard out here in these streets, and while Rudo is trying to do these things, ultimately again he is essentially like breaking laws and, you know, being chased after. There's this girl Chiwa in the story that essentially Rudo seemingly has a crush for. He's talking to his friend throughout this one, like, yo dog, this is how I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get her for sure, blah blah blah. Like, he actually really digs her, and I'm gonna say off rip that I don't trust her. Again, I've only read the first chapter, but alone a lot of really insane stuff happens, because essentially one thing leads to another without me giving you every single detail to spoil you, and Rudo tries to link back up with his friend Regto, which again, this guy Regto is like almost a big brother, you know, inspiration to Rudo. He's like very important to him, and he finds him dead there, stabbed, and he's like, yo, freaking out, like, oh my god, what the hell is going on? And essentially he is framed for this death because the cops show up, they see all of Regto's blood on Rudo, and immediately like, yo, he did it, boom, let's go. Which off rip gives me vibes of something that I just talked about recently in an episode of Forever News, which gives me off the rip vibes of Dead Man Wonderland, hands down, immediately. If there's any anime or manga out there that's going to remind me of, hey, being framed for a murder and going through some serious stuff, it is Dead Man Wonderland, except this one goes again in another different direction. Opposed to it being like a setup for, hey, you're going into this carnival attraction of like chaos of a jail, ultimately it seems as though he's supposed to be executed, but yet again he seemingly survived and ends up in the depths of the abyss of garbage. Now that I think about it, it's very interesting. A couple of manga lately have been honestly using the term and actual garbage as a selling point, because Kaiju number 8, if you've ever read it, that's a big thing in the beginning of it. But me explaining it is not going to do it justice. Obviously you need to read it for yourself, and I highly recommend that you do so, because him being framed for the murder and then the end, the abyss, and it looks like he's in front of a monster of sorts that he got thrown into this trash, and it's just like, holy cow, this is different. Gives me vibes of, like, for example, Sensei no Boge, aka Barrage, aka the series before My Hero Academia that the author Kohei Horikoshi had did, where it's like orphans and stuff like that in the slums, and it even gives me, I guess, very early Arcane vibes with that aspect as well. But again, it just keeps on twisting and turning. Like, I did not expect by the end of this manga to go from, hey, you know, let's look at trash and look at it from a different perspective, to, oh my god, he's a murderer, kill him, he must be executed, get him down, like his blood is on him, like what? And as I said earlier about this girl Chiwa, I wouldn't be surprised if she set him up for some reason or another, whether there's history, family history, whatever it may be, because again, one of the core elements about this whole thing was there's a bit of a mystery to Rudo's past, because something about Rudo is the fact that his folks were known killers and even potentially like abused of him. You see when he takes off the bandages of those gloves that he was wearing that his arms is really damaged or whatnot, and that was due to his family. So Rudo kind of has already an extra piece on his shoulders. Like, it's not just him surviving in the slums or whatnot. He's now also trying to clear his own name of, yo, dog, my parents may have been murderers and killers and all that stuff. That's not me. And then boom, he kind of proves right about his parents to this girl where she's holding the doll that he gave her and ultimately drops it like, oh, no, he's a murderer. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, dog, something ain't right. I wouldn't be surprised again if she had a hand in this, because again, clearly he didn't kill, unless like we're seeing it from a different perspective that we didn't see. Hey, Rudo's a murderer, and I don't think that's the case. And just quickly to deviate from the story, in terms of art, I really love Rudo's character design. The eyes, the face, in general, it has like a very exaggerated expression constantly. Like, Rudo's character design is dope. I like him as a character so far. He seems very moldable in terms of like, he's very lost. Like, he's literally comparing everything to garbage. This is like his fallback almost. Life is garbage to him. As a matter of fact, boom, I just thought of the title for this video. Gachiakuta smells like garbage. Or Gachiakuta is garbage. That'll get him. And it's not far off considering, yeah, there's a big theme of garbage in it, but it's a freaking amazing story in terms of a narrative, in terms of art. It looks awesome in terms of the mood and the pacing, and most importantly of all, and why I decided to make this video, because I know I do my little first impressions of a manga once in a while when something really hits, and this hit enough to make me say this shit was pretty awesome and refreshing. Refreshing is the number one thing, because, you know, there's a million stories about that boy that wanted to be great. There's a million stories about this, that, and the third. I love stories where it's like, I don't even know where the hell any of this is going to go. I know that probably something with his parents, they're probably still going to be alive because they were said to have been executed. We didn't see that. They're probably still alive around there, so I'm expecting something with his parents as this goes. I'm expecting something with that little girl, Chiwa. I'm expecting maybe with power-wise, he can create things out of garbage, because if they're even talking about like the souls of things, that everything has a soul, including garbage, maybe he can put back the soul of like garbage or something, and that's going to be a power moving forward. But either way, this manga right now, epic, awesome. I love the story. I love the characters so far. It's just very promising. It could go downhill. It could be 5 chapters from now and I'm coming back to tell you Gachiaka trasha, and it is literally trash. We don't know, but as of this first chapter that I saw, it was banging, art on point, story on point, refreshing. I like the characters. It's crazy, Deadman Wonderland-esque with a setup of like, yo, dog, why are you doing my dog Rudo like that? And overall, I highly recommend you go check out Gachiakuta. But I'm curious what you guys think. If you've read Gachiakuta, what do you think? You think it's kind of taking up the throne? You think it's taking up the torch from what Fire Force left behind, and it's going to be the next big thing, or it's going to get canceled? I like that it's in Weekly Shonen Magazine, because I feel like Weekly Shonen Magazine gives series more of a chance to go before cutting them off, opposed to like Shonen Jump, that you could be the most banging manga in the world, and if those Japanese kids aren't checking boxes in that survey, you're out of here. And if you've never read Gachiakuta, did I sell you on it? Again, you might like at the very least the first chapter, and it could be really good, because Weekly Shonen Magazine, again, they usually only bet on ones that they really think are going to win. That's why there's not too many new serializations, but when they come, they usually count and they usually stick around. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and yeah, garbage. Gachiakuta. It's definitely the opposite of it, if I'm keeping it real, but for the sake of jokes, it's trash! Or it has trash in it because it's a great manga. Not that the trash makes it a great manga. Yeah, let's end this video. Oh, you should totally like, subscribe.
So just go to